What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchan here, back again with another Pokemon trading card game, Scarlet and Violet deck tech. Today, we're going to be talking about my favorite Pokemon EX from Scarlet and Violet that not a lot of people are talking about, and it actually makes an old VMAX Pokemon really, really strong. That Pokemon is Spidops EX. Now, I'm not going to hesitate. We're just going to get right into it. What does Spidops EX do? It is a Stage 1 Pokemon EX that evolves from a Tarantula, which is a, single prize basic Pokemon. And it's got 260 HP, 2 retreat cost, and it's a grass type. But this Pokemon has a really cool ability and really cool attack that I think makes it super duper strong. It's got that trap territory ability, which states your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is colorless more. Now this ability does stack, so even though this is very unrealistic, if you can get 4 Spidops EX into play, you will increase your opponent's retreat cost by 4 energy. And now I know the format is filled with a bunch of switching cards in that. However, if you're able to out-resource manage your opponent and you can trap something there, you can do a lot of damage, a lot of big damage, and actually stall them out a little bit too if you need to, because its second attack, Wire Hang, for a grass and a colorless energy, does 90 damage plus 30 more damage for each colorless energy, each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So if your opponent's active has just a retreat cost of 2, most Pokemon have a retreat cost of 2, you're already going to be doing 150 damage, and now that scales up plus 30 with each Spidops you have in play. You can look at it that way. And now the Pokemon that this pairs really nicely with is Leafeon VMAX. Leafeon VMAX with that Grass Knot attack does 60 damage for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So very, very powerful combo here. As you can see, I think this is going to be a really cool deck to play and a really fun deck to play when it actually comes out internationally at the end of March. So I'm going to go through the entire deck list right now, and just to give you a little bit of a taste of what we're rocking with. So we have a 4/4 line of Tarantula and Spidops, but we're playing 2 different Tarantulas. Now, you're probably wondering why. Well, one of them has 40 HP but 1 retreat cost, and the other one has 60 HP but 2 retreat costs. The reason that we're playing 2 and 2 is because you would think, well, Beach Court is going to be a really popular stadium, and only having a 1 retreat cost Pokemon, especially on a small basic, is really good, right? I would say yes, but however, because it only has 40 HP, and we know Sableye is going to be very strong in the upcoming format, your opponent can take 3 prizes if they use Sableye and take out a bunch of Tarantulas. So we really don't want that to happen. So that's where we're rocking 2/2. So we have a decent chance of starting this 40 HP Tarantula if we're going to start a Tarantula. But we also have the 60 HP ones that can withstand some more damage counters from Sableye. So that's why we are using both, because, it's good to have some variety and some balance. We're playing a 2-1 line of Leafeon V and Leafeon VMAX. Leafeon V has that Greening Cells ability, which lets you search your deck for a grass energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon, and it ends your turn. Very, very powerful ability, and very, very good attacker when you evolve from Leafeon V to Leafeon VMAX. No Leafeon V Star in this deck though. I tried it with Leafeon V Star and I just kind of found that it was too clunky, especially because all of your main attackers have very small attack costs. Like the highest is basically 2 energy for Spidops and for Leafeon VMAX. Now we're also playing 2 Mew with that Mysterious Tail ability, which lets us look at the top 6 cards of our deck and put an item card we find there into our hand. I absolutely love Mew in this deck for reasons that I'm going to mention later. We have 1 Drapion V, 1 Radiant Charizard, and 1 Lumineon V. These are just our tech/supporter cards. I chose to play Radiant Charizard in this deck because I think that we do play Rhyhorns as well. It's a little spoiler. We play some Rhyhorns, and Radiant Charizard is a really good mid to late game attacker. If your opponent knocks out a Leafeon VMAX, for example, you go Radiant Charizard, boom, take a big knockout, and that gets knocked out, you go up with the Spidops and hopefully close up the game kind of deal. So that's why I really like Radiant Charizard in this deck. It can, with that Excited Heart ability, it can attack for only 1 energy. Your opponent's taking 4 prize cards, so that's why Radiant Charizard is a really, really good addition. I was debating Radiant Greninja, but I thought at the end of the day, Radiant Greninja is getting rid of your energy and it's helping draw cards, but you don't really have a surefire way to get that energy back. Now we also have that Leafeon V, which is just to search for our supporters when we need them, because we're going to need access to Raihan and some of our other supporters at specific points during the game. So that's why Leafeon is in here. As for our supporters, we're playing 4 Research, 2 Judge, 2 Raihan, and 2 Boss. A little bit light on the supporter count, only 10 supporters, but I think that is actually pretty fine, because I find that I don't really get my hand clogged up with supporters, but I only have one. I'll usually have one when I need it. There is actually one more supporter though that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, because it's a Pokemon recovery card. It's not Clara, it's a new one, but I'll mention that in a second. Now we also have 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, and 4 Battle VIP Pass. This is the reason that we are playing Mew from Celebrations, because we definitely want to be getting set up as soon as we can. Like, if you're going first, you want to be hitting a VIP Pass or a couple Nest Balls on your first turn, because it's very important that you get all your tarantulas down ASAP. Now we're also playing 4 Trekking Shoes, which is like that combined with the Mew is kind of our draw engine of this deck, because it lets us, you know, turn through our deck and look at the top card. If we don't want that top card, we discard it, draw one more. So Trekking Shoes I think is very important to have in this deck. Now we're also playing 3 copies of Switch to help us move our Mews out of the active. No Beach Court, because that kind of directly goes against our play and our plan with Spidops and Leafeon, right? So that's why there's some switches in here, which I think is just really good, so we can maneuver our Pokemon in and out of the active spot. And now the last supporter I want to talk about is the brand new Miriam supporter from the Scarlet and Violet set that came out in Japan. It lets you put up to 5 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. You can shuffle them into your deck and draw 3 cards, so it's not too shabby. This you could realistically replace with Clara, because Clara allows you to get the Pokemon back in your hand, but only 2 of them, but also 2 energy, and you don't draw cards. So it really depends on what you find you're lacking when you play this deck. If you find you're lacking that little bit extra like recovery in the energy, then you play Clara. But if you find that you really need that draw and you really want to get, say, 3 Tarantula, 2 Spidops back into your deck and then play them back down and get them reset up, then you gotta play the Miriam, right? Because unfortunately Ordinary Rod is leaving us this format. And now we also, for some tools, we have 3 different Pokemon tools. We got 4 Sealstone, Choice Belt, and Defiant Band, or Comeback Band, or whatever it's called, in the Scarlet and Violet set in Japan. All of these tools straightforward, except, you know, Defiant Band is a new tool card, which says if you're behind on prizes, so if your opponent has more prize cards taken than you do, all your Pokemon do 30 more, or your Pokemon that it's attached to does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, which is really strong because it works on EXs. We don't have like a choice band yet for EXs specifically, so that's why I think Defiant Band is a really cool card, because it allows you to even do a little bit more damage to your opponent's Pokemon if you're ever so slightly behind it. It's not specific to Pokemon V, which is really good. And now we're also going to have 2 stadiums in this deck, which are both going to be the brand new Mezagoza, which allows you to flip a coin, and if you can head search for a Pokemon and put it into your hand. Now, there's another stadium coming out in Japan's next Scarlet and Violet set, Triple B, which is going to be called Artisan Town, I believe, and it lets you put a non-rule box basic Pokemon right onto your bench. I think that that might even be a better pick in this deck, because setup is everything here. Setup is everything. And as for the energies, we're just going to be rocking 7 Grass Energy and 2 Fire Energy. A little bit on the more conservative side, if you need 9 energy total, but I think it's really strong, especially combined with Raihan. That'll let us get our energies back into play, and because all of our attackers are very low maintenance anyways. And that is basically going to be the deck tech. I've been playtesting this deck a lot. Very proud of how it plays. It's not the greatest deck, but it definitely has rogue status. Like, you can definitely trip up some decks that aren't expecting to play against the Spidops EX. And it's really fun to play. Like, it's a really enjoyable deck to pilot, and an enjoyable deck to kind of force your opponent to maneuver around. I think it's really fun and really cool. And I just want to thank you all so much for watching. Like this video if you enjoyed. Comment down below, what do you think of Spidops EX and this deck? Would you like, would you dislike, what would you keep, and what would you change? Please let me know in the comments down below. And subscribe to the channel. I post 1 to 2 new Pokemon Trading Card Game videos every single week here on the Hitmonchan channel. And I'm going to start doing my Scarlet and Violet pre-release coverage now because I'm very excited for the sets. I'm sure you all are too. We basically got a month and a half left until they release, a month left until pre-releases, so this is very exciting for the Pokemon trading card game. And yeah, I just wanted to say, thank you all so much for watching. With all that said and done, Hitmonchan out.